Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 2,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy the content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We have got a loaded Saturday night in the NFL world, and if you are a Minnesota Vikings fan, you need to sit down, buckle up, and pay very close attention, because in the last 24 hours, this organization has completely flipped the table on its offseason. We've got a surprise contract restructure, tens of millions in cap space materializing out of thin air, and one of the biggest trade dominoes in the entire league just dropped. And it has everything to do with the Vikings and what comes next. Let's get into it. For months now, we're talking since about week 10 of last season, the conversation around TJ Hockenson's future in Minnesota has been one of the most predictable stories in the NFL. You didn't need to be an insider to see where this was heading. A guy coming off a devastating knee injury that clearly robbed him of his explosiveness, a stat line that reads just 51 catches for 438 yards and 3 touchdowns last season, and a contract that had him carrying the single highest cap number of any tight end in the entire National Football League at $21.3 million. That is not a contract for a guy who looks like a diminished version of himself. That is a contract for an elite, Pro Bowl caliber weapon. And Hockenson, as much as we love him, simply has not been that guy since he tore multiple ligaments in his right knee back in late 2023. So when the offseason started, the math seemed brutally obvious. The Vikings began the year roughly $43 to $45 million over the cap. You've got a tight end costing you $21 million. If you make him a post-June best cut, you save $16 million in cap space. That is nearly half your problem solved with one phone call. It seemed like a no-brainer. Cut him, get off the contract, use that savings to sign someone like Cade Otton out of Tampa Bay for $9 or $10 million a year, and still have $6 or $7 million left over to address another need. Clean, efficient, smart roster management. But the Minnesota Vikings looked at all of that obvious logic, stared it right in the face, and did something completely different. According to multiple reports confirmed by Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, and Tom Pelissero, the Vikings and TJ Hockenson have agreed to a restructured contract that lowers his cap number by more than $5 million for the 2026 season. And here is the fascinating wrinkle that Pelissero added to the story. As part of that restructure, the Vikings agreed to delete the final year of Hockenson's deal entirely. So what does that actually mean? Hockenson took a pay cut. He absorbs the financial hit. The Vikings get $5 million in cap relief, and Hockenson, in exchange, gets his freedom. He becomes a free agent after this season rather than being locked into a deal through 2027. Both sides gave something. Both sides got something. And the most expensive tight end in football is still a Minnesota Viking in 2026. Now look, I'll be honest with you. I understand why the Vikings did it. They didn't want to open another hole in a roster that already has enough gaps. They didn't want to be searching for a starting tight end in a free agent market that's not exactly overflowing with elite options. And Hockenson, when healthy and clicking, has shown he can be a genuinely impactful player. His 2023 season with 95 catches for 960 yards and 5 touchdowns was one of the best tight end campaigns in the league that year. The talent is there. The question is whether that version of TJ Hockenson can resurface after 2 injury-marred seasons. But here's my honest take, and I think a lot of Vikings fans will agree with this. Even after the restructure, even with $5 million in savings, you are still paying a tight end somewhere around $16 million for what has been, by his own previous standards, a disappointing level of production. And when you factor in that Josh Oliver is also on this roster as a very capable blocking tight end on $9 million, you are looking at a tight end room that is eating a massive chunk of your cap for what amounts to a middle-of-the-pack positional group. In 2026 NFL football, where 2 tight end sets are more prevalent than ever, you need quality and depth and versatility at the position. Right now, the Vikings' tight end room is expensive, but not elite, and that's the tension that will define how this season plays out for Hockenson. This is essentially his contract year, whether he wanted it to be or not. He has everything to prove and no safety net left to fall back on. But the Hockenson news, as significant as it is, might actually be the second or third biggest development for the Vikings in the last 24 hours. Because while Hockenson's restructure was the move that officially cleared the runway for Minnesota heading into free agency, the broader cap cleanup the Vikings have executed over the past week has been genuinely stunning in its scope. Think about everything that has happened in a short window of time. Justin Jefferson, restructured. Christian Darrisaw, restructured. Byron Murphy Jr., restructured. Ryan Kelly, retired, which clears his salary off the books entirely. Add in the expected releases of Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave on the defensive line and Aaron Jones at running back, and you are looking at the Minnesota Vikings going from $43 to $45 million over the cap to sitting on somewhere between $25 and $30 million in available cap space heading into the free agency legal tampering window that opens Monday morning. That is an extraordinary organizational pivot, executed in a matter of days by Interim GM Rob Brzezinski, who has been absolutely working overtime to get this team into a manageable financial position. Now, the obvious question is, what do the Vikings actually do with that money? And before you get too excited, this is not a team that is about to become a massive free agency spender. The Vikings likely had $50 million or more in dead cap money on the books. The cap manipulation that got them to a positive number is real, but so is the reality that they've essentially borrowed from tomorrow to pay for today. Again, the restructures on Jefferson, Darrisaw, Murphy, and Hockenson all convert base salary into signing bonus money that gets spread across future years. It's a credit card, and the Vikings have been swiping that card hard. In 2024, they were carrying $59 million in dead cap and still found a way to make it work with their 9-8 season. But the ceiling gets lower every time you push money into future years without addressing it with long-term extensions. What that likely means in terms of free agency is that the Vikings will be targeted and measured, not reckless. Think smaller, high-value, one-year deals in the $7 to $8 million range. Maybe a veteran defensive tackle to replace what they're losing with the releases of Allen and Hargrave. A name like John Franklin Myers has already surfaced in reports as someone the Vikings have interest in. Maybe a center to address the Ryan Kelly retirement. A guy like Cade Mays is a name to watch there. Perhaps a veteran backup quarterback, because the situation behind J.J. McCarthy remains one of the most pressing questions in the entire organization. A name like James Paxton out of Pittsburgh has been floated, and the Vikings absolutely need to do something there, given the uncertainty surrounding McCarthy's long-term development. At pick 18 in the draft, the prevailing expectation is that the Vikings are going cornerback or safety, depending on how the board falls. Dylan Thaman out of Oregon, Emmanuel Forbes, Jamarian McMillan, these are the types of names you'd expect to hear when the Vikings are on the clock. The Hockenson restructure and the overall cap management tell you definitively that the team is not desperate enough at tight end to reach for a guy at 18. That position is addressed for now. The secondary is the organizational priority heading into May. But here is the story that has the entire NFL world buzzing right now, and it ties directly back to the Vikings, their cap situation, and the trade market heating up in a way nobody expected. Friday night, out of nowhere, the Baltimore Ravens made one of the most aggressive and surprising moves of the entire offseason. They traded 2 first-round draft picks to the Las Vegas Raiders in exchange for 5-time Pro Bowler Max Crosby, one of the top pass rushers in football, now in Baltimore, for 2 first-round selections. It was a blockbuster, it was a statement, and it immediately changed the calculus for every single team that had been making calls to the Minnesota Vikings about a certain edge rusher named Jonathan Greenard. Here is everything you need to know about Jonathan Greenard. He is 28 years old, about to turn 29 in May. He is a former Pro Bowler who recorded back-to-back 12-sack seasons in 2023 and 2024. Last year was admittedly a down campaign. He played just 12 games due to a shoulder injury that required off-season surgery. But even in that limited sample, he remained one of the Vikings' highest-graded defenders, according to PFF, both as a pass rusher and as a run defender. He plays all three downs. He is not a situational specialist. He is a complete football player. He signed a 4-year, $76 million deal in 2024, carries a cap number of $22.3 million in 2026, with a cash salary of $19 million, and none of that remaining money is fully guaranteed. ESPN's Adam Schefter first broke the news earlier this week that the Vikings were open to trading Greenard for salary cap relief, while noting the organization would prefer to keep him. The initial reporting from Jeremy Fowler suggested that a day 2 pick, a second or third rounder, would probably get a deal done. Half the league reportedly called Minneapolis to inquire. The Eagles have been confirmed as a team that has made contact. The Seahawks, the Cowboys, the Bengals, the Jaguars. The list of teams with pass rush needs is long. And then Max Crosby went to Baltimore for 2 first-rounders, and everything changed. Look at the numbers side by side since 2023, over a 44-game sample. Max Crosby, 32 sacks, 128 solo tackles, 114 pressures. Jonathan Greenard, over the same span, 27.5 sacks, 96 solo tackles, 96 pressures. Crosby is the better player. There is no argument there. He is a 5-time Pro Bowler, a proven superstar, the kind of edge rusher you build a defense around. But Greenard is a legitimately excellent football player. He is 3 months younger than Crosby, he is still under contract for 2 seasons, and any team trading for him is getting him at $19 million per year. Not the kind of money that requires a massive restructure just to make work. That is a relative bargain in today's edge rusher market. So what does Greenard fetch? Before the Crosby trade, the expectation was a second-round pick, maybe a second and something else. After the Crosby trade, and I think you have to take this seriously, the Vikings should absolutely be holding out for a first-round pick. Maybe a first and a fourth, maybe a second and a conditional first that becomes a first based on performance. The market has moved. Greenard's perceived value in league circles has gone up, and the Philadelphia Eagles, the defending Super Bowl champions, a team with real win-now urgency and a known interest in the pass rusher, are exactly the kind of organization that might see acquiring Greenard at a first-round pick price as a perfectly reasonable investment. Now, the question that every Vikings fan has to grapple with is whether trading Greenard is actually the right call for this team beyond just the financial logic. And here is where it gets interesting, because the answer might actually be yes, even beyond the cap savings, because here is what the Vikings have that most teams trying to rebuild their pass rush do not. They have Dallas Turner. They have Ivan Van Ginkel. Dallas Turner was the 17th overall pick in the 2024 draft, a guy the Vikings gave up significant draft capital to move up for. He needs to become a starter. He needs to get on the field, develop, and justify that investment. Right now, with Greenard in the lineup as the clear-cut number 1 outside linebacker, Turner is operating in a secondary role. Trading Greenard does not create a massive hole. It creates an opportunity. It forces Dallas Turner to step into the spotlight. And frankly, that might be exactly what this team needs to do to unlock his ceiling. If you trade Greenard and save $12 million in cap space, on top of what is already there, you are looking at somewhere approaching $40 million in available money heading into free agency. That fundamentally changes what you can do. Maybe that money goes toward a bigger free agency swing at defensive tackle. Maybe, and this is the one that every Minnesota fan hopes for, it opens the door for Jalen Nailor to return. Nailor was supposed to be in line for a contract in the $10 to $12 million per year range. With the cap situation as tight as it has been, bringing him back was looking increasingly difficult. With an extra $12 million freed up by a Greenard trade, suddenly that math gets a lot easier. Here is the bottom line on where the Minnesota Vikings stand right now, heading into one of the most electric 72-hour stretches in the entire NFL calendar. They have restructured their way out of a $43 million cap hole and emerged with real money to spend. They have committed to TJ Hockenson for 1 more year and bet on a bounce-back season. They have lost veteran leaders in Ryan Kelly, Aaron Jones, Javon Hargrave, and Jonathan Allen, creating real needs at multiple positions. And they are sitting at the center of the most intriguing trade conversation in the league, with Jonathan Greenard's phone probably not stopping ringing right now. Something is going to happen. The dominoes are moving. Monday is coming, and Monday in the NFL free agency world is one of the most chaotic and thrilling days in all of sports. Signings, trades, restructures, surprise moves that nobody saw coming. The next 72 hours on this channel are going to be absolute must-watch content. We are going live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday for over 25 hours of coverage. Every move, every rumor, every development in real time, right here. So if you are not subscribed yet, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button right now. Help us get to 71,000 subscribers and buckle up for what is shaping up to be the wildest week of the NFL offseason. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you want the Vikings to trade Jonathan Greenard and go get that first-round pick? Or do you keep him, stack the edge rusher room, and build around the talent you already have? I want to hear from you. Like the video, leave a comment, and we will see you Monday morning when the madness officially begins. As always, Skull Vikings.
Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 2,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy the content, please hit that subscribe button right now.